Hi everyone, it's Lucas here. In this short video, I'm wanting to help you to understand your training load and playing load across the week. So I'm going to keep it as short as I can, but there's going to be five things that I'm going to cover. It's general adaptation syndrome theory, peak height velocity, the traffic light scheme, weekly load management, and injury risk in males and females. Firstly, there's some aims and objectives that I want you to come away with having a better understanding. So the aim of this is to understand the considerations of managing your weekly training and playing load to maximize your recovery and ultimately enhance your performance. The objectives, we're gonna have a, hopefully by the end of it, have a better understanding of general adaptation syndrome theory, understand the growth spurt, and what high, medium, and low looks like. So first up, we have got general adaptation syndrome theory. You'll see that it's broken into four stages. Got current fitness level, train, recover, and the new fitness level. So on this straight line here, you have just done a gym session. You have done your football training on the pitch. You have done a hockey session. Okay, whatever your activity looks like, that's what that is there. Okay. You've trained for 45 minutes, an hour and a half, and you've really given it all in, and you're coming away from that session, feeling great, but realistically, your body is damaged, whether it's muscle damage or just fatigue, from the repeated muscular actions that you have performed in that training session or whatever that session may be. So you see, as it dips down here, your body goes into a state of like fatigue, and then this is essentially where the recovery process starts. So let's say that you train Monday, Tuesday, you have a day off to recover. You give yourself 24 to 36 hours, and as you start to recover, this line starts to come back up. And from you giving yourself the time to recover between the sessions, you have now got a new fitness level. Now, obviously, this isn't going to just happen over 24 to 36 hours. This is going to happen over the course of weeks and months. And what we want to really work on is recovery, getting that new fitness level. Then that new fitness level starts there, and we keep going up and up and up, like so. So that's what general adaptation syndrome theory is. Next, we have got this peak height velocity graph. So, what this essentially is the growth spurt between males and females. Females are, on average, more likely to start their peak height velocity or their growth spurt earlier than males. There is a 12-month plus or minus um, at this age here. Okay, so females might be starting as early as 10 years old or up to kind of 12, 13, 14. As I say, in this study, this was averages. In males, average is going to be around kind of 13 years old, and the same again, 12 months plus or minus that age. So it could be 12 years old, it could be 14, it could be 15, 16. So that is the peak height velocity. So you can kind of see that around this age between 12 to 15, 16, there is this significant spike in growth, and that's just caused by hormonal changes in the body. So now we're on to our traffic light scheme where we're using high, medium, and low, okay? Or red, yellow, and green. I'm a big fan of visual things, and this is exactly what I use when I am planning out my training for the week or for the month. So next, I'm going to go through kind of some examples. So this is something that I would recommend everyone to do. Either have it on your phone, a spreadsheet. You can even have you could print out something like this, have it on your fridge, and just whether it be H, M, or L, for high, medium, or low. But from the conversations that I had with people in the gym, and parents and people who play on the weekends, this is what commonly it would look like across the week. So some people play Saturday and Sunday, morning and afternoon, and those days are typically going to be your red days. Okay, they are the competition days. They're the days that you are competing in either leagues or cups or so on. And I should say as well that the top bit here is morning and the bottom one is like afternoon, evening. So green would be your low intensity day. So that would be you wouldn't be doing anything or you'd be doing something very minimal, maybe like a walk or a swim, something that you're an activity that you're doing, you're coming away from and you're not knackered or so. And yellow might be yellow in the morning, might be a EDS session. It might be PE in school. You might have done a resistance training session in the morning. Something to consider is that these colors aren't just for labeling physical or like physiological stress, but also for like mental and emotional stress. So important things to consider here is work and school. Okay, work and school are stresses, okay, that get put on your body. You might have a day in school or work that you know you've not got much on versus another day where you know you've got loads going on, and your stress level is quite high for the day. So this is one example. Um, this is an example where um, this was a real world example of a parent and a child I work with, and I got them to color in across the week, and the first thing that I'm seeing here is that there's not enough green days. Okay, so we've got Wednesday evening and Friday evening were the days that they didn't do anything. But Monday was a day in school where they were doing PE in the morning, they done like training in the afternoon. And this was off the back of two high intensity days on the weekend. So what I tasked the person to do here is where can we look at adding in another like another couple of green sessions. This was another example of someone, and this person was playing quite a lot of football, um, trying to squeeze in a bit of swimming as well, um, and trying to come and do a session in the gym as well. So ideally, this is what we don't want it to look like. Um, Again, I tasked the person with going away and trying to fill in where was the opportunity to get some green days in there. So ideally, this is something that we really wouldn't want to see because when I seen this, my first thought was, where's the days to recover? And the reason why I was thinking about this is if I go back to this peak height velocity graph, during this period of accelerated growth, there's a lot of changes that is going on in the body. And to get that growth, the body has to be in a state of rest where the bodily functions can go like during rest, so whether it's like sleeping or just a recovery day, and essentially support the body of the person to grow without like consistently doing hard physical activity all the time. So something that I wouldn't recommend for the week to this. Um, this was another example of someone who only done only played on a Saturday, um, morning and afternoon. Then Sunday was a recovery day. And obviously the yellows looking at like school stress, and then they were doing sessions in the morning. So this is something that I would say is a bit more ideal. Obviously, everyone's going to have their own version of doing it. And this is another example. This was an example of someone who comes to do sessions with me twice a week. So they were doing a session Tuesday, Thursday, and then Saturday was typically a day where they'd be out on the hills, like literally walking like 6, 7 hours a day, which is going to be stress on the body. Hiking up mountains like 6, 7 hours a day. That's pretty tough. So there, I've given you a couple examples of how to kind of structure your training load across the week using this traffic light scheme. Next, brings one nicely to the considerations for why we would need to look at managing this training load. So, this was a study from uh, athletes who were 12 to 18 years old, and they basically done a questionnaire that was looking at like their specialization, bit of a mouthful that, and their participation volume and injury history in the sport. So there was loads of quite interesting information that came out of it. And what they considered specialized, like highly specialized, was if someone was just doing one sport, say for example, like basketball, like they only done basketball, that's highly specialized because they're really focusing in on one sport. Um, and they found that having this highly specialization in this sport was going to result in it resulted in a higher increase of injury in these youth athletes. Um, the really interesting one that uh, I found was quite a big one was this result too. And it's athletes who played their primary sport more than 8 months of the year were more likely to report an upper extremity overuse injury of 68% or a lower body injury of 66%. Now, what does that mean? Okay. I'm not saying that you should only play sport 8 months of the year and then have 4 months off. Okay. That's that's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to suggest is that can you get involved in doing another sport? Okay. Let's say, for example, you only do hockey. Okay. Let's say you only do hockey, right? Can you do something that's going to challenge movements in a different way, like maybe badminton, swimming? The idea of this is that when you are sampling into different sports, you are going to take away different things. So what you might not get from hockey, you might get from swimming. What you might not get from swimming, you might get from badminton. So what they were really trying to suggest is that um, athletes shouldn't really focus on just going into one sport, but should actually kind of sample loads of different sports. Um, this was a study that was done by some um, Dutch researchers looking at basically the incidence of injuries across a football academy. And if I go back to this peak height velocity graph, okay, um, if you look at the ages that we're kind of focusing in between, so like kind of 10, 11 to 15, 16, this is where all the growth, this is where there's going to be a significant increase in growth. And what did they find? They found that I kind of around this 13, 14, 15, 16 mark, that there was a significant increase in injuries. And basically, what they kind of concluded was that during this accelerated period of growth, alongside congested weeks of training and playing, they found that the incidence of injury was increased, and that there was really a big focus on them to kind of manage their training load, whilst they were going through this accelerated period of growth. Now, this is a really interesting paper. The only negative is that it only focused on males. Um, Obviously, males and females play and compete in sport. This is the only negative of this paper is that it only focused into males. Um, However, this study that was done in 2024, they basically looked at all the papers in the literature which were using youth female athletes as their participants and basically trying to understand the impact of injuries in youth female sports. Um, they sifted through loads of studies. They ended up finding 32, which they deemed useful, and predominantly a lot of them were football. Now, only a couple of them actually highlighted what the injuries were and how much time was lost due to these injuries. And they concluded that future research needs to be more in depth into what the injuries are, how much time was lost, kind of what age was this happening, and it needs to be across a wide variety of sports, not just football, but across other sports like netball, basketball, hockey, swimming, other racket sports such as tennis and badminton. So that is the conclusion of this presentation. If I was just to give it a whirlwind through here again, so we need to consider the effect that training and competition has on the body and why it's important to consider rest. Um, be aware that during these ages, there's going to be a period of accelerated growth in males and females. Use the high, medium, and low traffic light scheme to plan your week. What are your low intensity days? What are your mediums? What are your high intensity days? So that you know that, okay, Saturday I've got a game in the morning and a game in the evening. Friday night needs to be, or Friday day and night needs to be as green as possible. I need to be as recovered as possible for Saturday, and then the same on Sunday again. Um, this is why we should consider the load management, and how much time is being put into the training and the playing, and just a consideration for injuries in the growth spurt and um, females as well. I hope that you have found this useful. Either drop me a message, let me know your thoughts. That'd be great. Thanks very much.